In the vast, sprawling landscapes of the late Jurassic, a world dominated by immense plant life, a creature rose above all others, not in dominance, but in sheer, astonishing verticality. While giants like Allosaurus prowled the ground, the true high-rises of the Morrison Formation were the immense sauropods, and among them, one genus stands as a monument to specialized evolution, Brachiosaurus. Imagine a living tower, its head stretching 50 feet into the air, a biological marvel that defies our modern understanding of terrestrial life. How could a creature this massive, this tall, even exist? We see that its very anatomy was a series of radical adaptations designed to overcome the gravitational and physiological challenges of its extraordinary height. Now, let's open the fossil record and resurrect the story of this Jurassic titan. The fossil evidence for Brachiosaurus reveals a body plan unlike any other. We analyze its skeletal structure and find a sloping back, with the forelimbs significantly longer than the hind limbs. This unique posture, what we might call a giraffe-like stance, immediately set it apart from its long-necked cousins, like Diplodocus, which were built more for horizontal reach. This distinct anatomy suggests a fundamental divergence in ecological niche. We can infer from this skeletal arrangement that the Brachiosaurus was a dedicated high-level browser, its entire existence centered around an aerial feeding strategy. The neck itself, a breathtaking 15 to 18 feet long, was the key to this lifestyle. Its vertebrae were not just elongated, they were highly specialized. We observe that they were pneumatic, filled with extensive air sacs that would have drastically reduced the neck's overall weight, making it manageable for the animal's powerful muscles to lift. This internal system of air sacs wasn't just about weight management. It was an integrated part of a complex respiratory system, akin to that of modern birds, ensuring the creature could draw in sufficient oxygen to power its immense body. Its massive, column-like legs, with their solid bone structure, acted as the stable foundation for this living tower. When we piece this all together, the four-limb dominant stance, the pneumatic vertebrae, the sheer scale, we see that Brachiosaurus was an incredible feat of biomechanical engineering. Its immense size was not a byproduct of its diet. It was the essential scaffold that allowed it to access a food source no other dinosaur could reach. This remarkable anatomy, however, was not without its costs. The very thing that defined Brachiosaurus, its towering neck, was a high-stakes evolutionary gamble. The physics of pumping blood to a brain 50 feet in the air are staggering. To overcome the pull of gravity and maintain adequate blood pressure, the Brachiosaurus must have possessed an enormous, powerful heart, likely multiple times the size of a human's. We infer from the robust ribs and immense chest cavity that its cardiovascular system was a biological powerhouse, designed to perform a constant, Herculean task. The sheer metabolic demands of maintaining this system and lifting its massive head to browse would have required it to consume an incredible volume of food daily. This reliance on high-level foliage meant that the survival of an entire herd was tied directly to the availability of specific types of plant life, making them vulnerable to any shift in the environment. When we consider its behavior, the challenge becomes even more complex. A high-level browser is an easy target for terrestrial predators like Allosaurus and Torvosaurus, especially for a juvenile or an injured adult. While its size was its best defense, providing an immense, intimidating presence, The fossil record also shows us that these long necks could have been a liability. We see instances of puncture wounds on sauropod vertebrae, suggesting that predators, though rarely able to take down a healthy adult, might have targeted the neck in an attempt to disable their prey. This suggests a delicate balance. The neck was essential for survival, yet it was also a point of vulnerability. This leads us to the heart of the matter, the ecological niche of the Brachiosaurus. It was a keystone species, a biological force of nature that shaped its environment by its very existence. By feeding on the treetops, it cultivated the forest in a way no other herbivore could, preventing a single type of plant from dominating the landscape and creating new foraging opportunities for smaller dinosaurs below. This specialized feeding also limited its movement. Unlike the more generalized Diplodocus, which could rear up on its hind legs to browse or feed on low-lying ferns, the Brachiosaurus was a static grazing machine. Its long forelimbs and neck were its exclusive tools. This meant that once an area was stripped of high-level foliage, it had to move on, a slow, deliberate migration in search of the next grove of trees. This reliance on specific food sources, coupled with the immense metabolic cost, meant that the Brachiosaurus was an evolutionary specialist. It had perfected a single strategy, and in doing so, it became highly successful within the stable, lush environment of the Jurassic. However, this specialization also made it incredibly sensitive to any changes in that environment, a biological gamble that paid off for millions of years, but not forever. The reign of the high-browsing Brachiosaurus was a testament to evolutionary success within a particular ecological framework. But as with all life, change was inevitable. The fossil record helps us piece together the end of this epic. While the exact causes of its eventual decline are complex, we see that later sauropod lineages, such as those that would evolve in the Cretaceous period, show a move away from the extreme, giraffe-like morphology of Brachiosaurus. We can infer from this that the environmental conditions that favored such extreme high browsing were changing. Perhaps the types of tall coniferous trees that were its primary food source became less abundant, or perhaps new competitive pressures from evolving herbivore species made its niche less viable. The very specialization that made it so successful may have also been its downfall. Yet, the legacy of Brachiosaurus is not one of failure, but of a biological experiment that pushed the limits of life on land. Its incredible size and unique body plan provided a foundational blueprint for future giants. When we analyze the later titanosaurs, we see a continuation and evolution of many of the same principles: pneumatic bones, immense size, and a powerful heart required for a high-volume lifestyle. The Brachiosaurus was a progenitor, a living proof of concept for how a vertebrate could thrive at the scale of a multi-story building. Its fossilized bones, excavated from the heart of the Morrison Formation, are not just relics of a forgotten past. They are chapters of an unfinished story, a story of how a lineage of giants rose, conquered the vertical dimension, and laid the groundwork for the future of dinosaur evolution. We can still see echoes of its remarkable anatomy in modern animals, like the giraffe, though on a far more modest scale. These connections remind us that the ancient world is never truly gone. The bones of Brachiosaurus stand as a profound testament to the power of adaptation. They teach us that life, when given a new frontier, whether it be the depths of the ocean or the tops of the tallest trees, will find a way not just to survive, but to flourish in the most unexpected and breathtaking ways. Its story is a deep look into a world that tested the very limits of biology, and in doing so, created one of the most unforgettable creatures to ever walk the earth.